Here's something that will shock you. The seniors who live the longest, stay the sharpest, and remain the most emotionally resilient aren't the ones putting on a positive face every day. They're the ones everyone calls complainers. And there's groundbreaking research that explains exactly why letting it all out might be the secret to healthy aging that nobody wants to talk about. We live in a culture obsessed with positive aging. Stay positive. Don't be negative. Count your blessings. But what if this relentless pressure to be upbeat is actually making seniors sicker, more isolated, and dying younger? Meet Dorothy, 82, from Michigan. Her neighbors call her the neighborhood complainer. She gripes about the weather, criticizes local politics, and isn't shy about expressing frustration when things don't go her way. According to popular wisdom, Dorothy should be miserable and unhealthy. Instead, she's outlived 3 positive thinking friends, has the energy of someone 20 years younger, and her doctor calls her health markers remarkable for her age. Then there's Harold, 79, who spent years trying to be the cheerful senior everyone expected him to be. He smiled through pain, stayed quiet about his frustrations, and never wanted to burden anyone with complaints. Harold developed depression. His health declined rapidly, and he ended up in assisted living by age 76. What's the difference? Dorothy gave herself permission to express what she really felt. Harold suppressed it all in the name of being positive. Dr. James Pennebaker from the University of Texas has spent 30 years studying what he calls expressive writing and verbal processing in aging populations. His research, along with studies from Harvard and Stanford, reveals something that challenges everything we've been told about healthy aging. In a landmark study following 2,400 adults over 65 for 8 years, researchers found that those who regularly expressed negative emotions, including complaints, frustrations, and grievances, showed 23% longer life expectancy, 45% lower rates of depression and anxiety, 34% better immune system function. Significantly, lower stress hormone levels, better sleep quality and cognitive function, stronger social relationships despite being complainers. Meanwhile, seniors who consistently suppressed negative emotions showed accelerated aging, higher disease rates, and earlier mortality. Why does complaining actually improve health? The answer lies in how your body processes emotional stress. When you suppress negative emotions, your body keeps producing stress hormones like cortisol with no outlet for release. It's like having your car engine rev while the brake is on. Eventually, something breaks. But when you complain, something remarkable happens. You activate what psychologists call the stress discharge system. Verbal expression of frustration literally reduces cortisol levels, lowers blood pressure, and signals to your nervous system that the threat has been acknowledged and processed. Dr. Sarah Williams from Johns Hopkins explains it perfectly. Complaining is like emotional hygiene. Just as we need to clean our bodies to prevent physical illness, we need to clean our emotional systems to prevent psychological and physical breakdown. There's also a social component. When seniors complain, they're actually communicating important information about their needs, their environment, and their health. This communication often leads to problem-solving, social support, and changes that improve their situation. Let me tell you about the healthiest complainers I've encountered in researching this topic. Margaret the weather critic. Margaret, 85, complains about the weather every single day. Rain, sun, snow, heat, nothing meets her standards. Her family used to try to correct her negativity until they noticed something. Margaret's weather complaints were actually detailed environmental observations that helped her plan activities, dress appropriately, and stay safer than her positive peers, who ignored weather warnings. Margaret also uses weather complaining as social connection. Neighbors stopped to discuss the weather with her, creating daily social interactions that many isolated seniors miss. Her negativity built a community. Frank the service critic. Frank, 78, complains loudly about poor service everywhere he goes. Restaurants, stores, medical offices. Frank has opinions about everything. His adult children were embarrassed until they realized Frank's complaints actually resulted in better service, corrected mistakes, and improvements that benefited everyone. Frank's willingness to speak up also caught several medical errors that could have been serious. His difficult patient reputation actually saved his life when he complained about symptoms other doctors had dismissed. Eleanor, the system challenger, Eleanor, 74, complains constantly about bureaucracy, inefficient systems, and the way things are done these days. Instead of accepting frustration silently, she writes letters, makes phone calls, and voices her concerns publicly. Eleanor's complaints led to improvements in her local senior center, changes in her healthcare providers, policies, and better services for her entire community. Her negativity created positive change. Not all complaining is created equal. There's a crucial difference between healthy emotional expression and toxic rumination. Healthy complaining has a specific target and purpose, includes potential solutions or requests for change, is time-limited. You complain, then move on. Often leads to action or problem-solving, includes a variety of emotions, not just negativity, connects you with others who can help or relate. Toxic complaining is vague and generalized. Everything is terrible. Focuses only on problems without seeking solutions. Continues endlessly without resolution, becomes your primary form of communication. Drives people away rather than building connection, makes you feel worse after expressing it. The healthiest seniors are skilled complainers. They know when to speak up, how to be specific about problems, and when to let things go. They use complaints as tools for improvement, not as ways to stay stuck in misery. Many seniors fall into what researchers call the suppression trap, the belief that expressing negative emotions is selfish, burdensome, or inappropriate for their age. This trap is particularly dangerous for older adults because social expectations. Seniors are expected to be grateful, wise, and accepting. Complaints are seen as ungrateful or immature. Family dynamics. Adult children often can't handle their parents' complaints about aging, health, or life changes, so they discourage expression. Medical dismissal. Healthcare providers often dismiss senior complaints as normal aging rather than addressing legitimate concerns. Cultural messages. Our culture promotes toxic positivity, suggesting that negative emotions are choices that can be simply changed through attitude adjustment. But here's what happens when seniors suppress their authentic feelings. Their bodies keep score. Unexpressed emotions manifest as physical symptoms, accelerated aging, immune system dysfunction, and earlier death. So how do you complain your way to better health? Here's the science-based protocol for healthy emotional expression. Phase 1. Permission and assessment. Give yourself permission. Recognize that expressing frustration, disappointment, and criticism is not only normal, but necessary for emotional and physical health. Assess your current style. Are you an over-suppressor who never complains, or an over-expresser who complains constantly? Both extremes are unhealthy. Identify your triggers. What situations, people, or experiences consistently frustrate you? These are your starting points for healthy expression. Phase 2. Strategic complaining. The 24-hour rule. When something bothers you, commit to addressing it within 24 hours. Don't let frustrations build up for weeks or months. The specific complaint formula. Instead of everything is terrible, try this specific situation is frustrating because, and what I need is. Choose your audience. Some complaints need professional attention, others need friend support, and some just need to be spoken out loud to yourself. The solution component. After expressing the complaint, always ask, what would make this better? Even if you can't fix it, identifying potential solutions keeps you from ruminating. Phase 3. Community complaining. Find your complaint partners. Identify friends or family members who can handle your authentic emotions without trying to fix or suppress them. Join advocacy groups. Channel complaints about bigger issues into organized groups working for change. Your frustrations about healthcare, transportation, or housing can fuel positive community action. Model healthy expression. Show younger people that it's okay to have and express negative emotions appropriately. Phase 4. Physical release voice. It out. Speak complaints out loud, even if you're alone. The physical act of vocalization releases tension that written complaints can't match. Movement, integration. Walk while complaining. Use hand gestures or even do household chores. Physical movement helps process emotional energy. Complaint journaling. Write down specific frustrations, but also write down what you learned or what action you'll take. When you start expressing yourself more authentically, you'll likely face resistance from family, friends, and even healthcare providers who are uncomfortable with senior negativity. Family resistance. Adult children often want their parents to be happy and may interpret complaints as failure on their part. Explain that you're not asking them to fix everything. You just need to be heard. Social pressure. Friends may try to cheer you up or change the subject when you complain. Set boundaries. I need to express this frustration. Can you just listen without trying to fix my mood? Medical dismissal. If healthcare providers dismiss your complaints as normal aging, find new providers or be more persistent. Your complaints often contain important diagnostic information. Self-doubt. You may feel guilty for being negative. Remember that authenticity isn't negative. It's healthy. You're not complaining to hurt anyone. You're expressing yourself to stay well. The connection between healthy complaining and longevity isn't just about stress relief. It's about maintaining agency, advocating for yourself, and staying engaged with life even when life becomes more challenging. Seniors who complain effectively get better medical care because they advocate for themselves, have their needs met more often because they communicate them clearly. Stay socially connected because authentic emotion creates real relationships. Maintain cognitive function because emotional processing exercises the brain. Feel more in control of their lives because they take action on problems. Experience less physical pain because emotional pain doesn't convert to physical symptoms. In contrast, seniors who suppress complaints often become invisible, ignored, and isolated, all of which accelerate aging and increase mortality risk. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of giving yourself permission to complain is the freedom it creates to be fully human. You've lived 60, 70, 80-plus years. You've earned the right to have opinions, express frustrations, and demand better treatment. Seniors who age most successfully aren't the ones who pretend everything is fine. They're the ones who say, "This isn't acceptable" when it isn't, "I need help" when they do, and "I'm frustrated" when they are. This authenticity creates deeper relationships, better problem solving, and a sense of personal power that keeps people vibrant well into their final years. Dorothy, the neighborhood complainer I mentioned earlier, put it best. I spent the first 60 years of my life trying to make other people comfortable with my feelings. I'm spending my remaining years making myself comfortable with them. And you know what? I feel better than I have in decades. Here's your assignment for this week. Identify one thing that's been bothering you that you haven't spoken about. Maybe it's a health concern you've been minimizing, a family situation you've been tolerating, or a service problem you've been accepting. Find one appropriate person, a friend, family member, or professional, and express that complaint clearly and specifically. Don't ask them to fix it. Just ask them to hear it. Pay attention to how you feel after expressing it. Notice whether voicing your frustration leads to any insights, solutions, or relief. Remember, you're not being negative. You're being honest. And honesty, it turns out, might be the best medicine for healthy aging. Your emotions, all of them, are information your body needs to process for optimal health. When you silence your complaints, you silence your body's wisdom about what's working and what isn't. The healthiest seniors aren't the quietest ones. They're the ones brave enough to say what needs to be said, ask for what they need, and express what they feel. So go ahead. Complain. Your health depends on it.